Hello, lovely people. Thank you for joining and watching. I thought I'd come on today to do just a little video on what decks I'm going to be using for Halloween. So whenever you want to call it, or just call it spooky season. And some that I'm not going to be using. So it's like some are old ones, some are new ones, and some are in between ones. I love Halloween. It's just really special time of the year for me because it's my birthday on the 30th. So I love celebrating the whole season. I love to decorate the house. And get my like spooky darker decks. Not because like I particularly do any kind of shadow work or anything. It's just I love the whole aesthetic of the whole season. It's like a dark time of the year, and then we're coming up to Christmas after that. So I particularly love the autumn season, anything from September onwards until January. And I find it really exciting, so I thought I'd jump on today to kind of like give you a little idea on what I'm going to be using, and what I do use. So first of all, this is one of my favorite decks, right? And it's Camp, and it's the Tarot of the Haunted House, and this is by Los Scarabeo. It was out, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now. I think I've had this a couple of years now, and it's so cool, honestly. The whole deck, right, this is what I mean by camp, because the artwork's very campy, and it's just really fab, and it reads like a dream. And the reason why I love it so much is because the whole deck is basically a story. And so you've got like the beginning of the story there, like a horror kind of like tale, and then it's based on like kind of old gothic movies, and it reminds me of like 50s, 60s, 70s movies from when I was a kid, so it's probably why I love it. And it's based on the protagonist is called Raven Wandsworth. I mean, you couldn't get no more camper than that, really, could ya? And everything in it is like tells the story of this person, this Raven Wandsworth going into this haunted house, and all these sorts of things happening to her and things like that. So this is actually one of my favorite decks. And for a Los Scarabeo tarot deck, it actually is particularly good. It's borderless, which I love. See the artwork on that, how camp is that? It's just brilliant, honestly. Van Gogh's one of the decks I'm going to review on the floor. And so, like, I mean, obviously I haven't got him in order, but if you did see that I had him in order, you could see exactly what I meant. So it's really spooky, but not like, there's no like frightening images in here, really. But I love it because it tells a story. It's completely based on the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. And you've got like heroes and heroines, and you've got the exorcist, priest there and everything. And so this is one of the things I love about it, and I always pull it out like towards the end of September and start reading with it. And I really look forward to using this deck because like it is so cool. It's still available now. I think it retails for about £17 in the UK. And yeah, if you like campy and kitsch and like kind of the old horror movies, this is a deck for you. You've even got the old Ouija board, like, thrown in for good measure. And yeah, it's just really cool. I mean, look at that, the Ace of Wands. So, the cards are very self-explanatory. There is the magician, who is the butler inviting Raven into the haunted and gothic mansion. And so you can see when you lay the cards out, they tell a really cool tale. And the guidebook as well for a Los Scarabeo guidebook is really cool as well. So this is a totally usable deck, and I'd recommend this for the spooky season, because I absolutely love it. Look at that, reminiscent to The Shining, with the twins. There's no like kind of like really modern, horror icons on here. it's all very kind of contained in this haunted house and the surroundings in the garden and things like that. So there's the chariot look, the chauffeur, and everything is like, you know, very, very, very self-explanatory. So that is my first deck that I will definitely be using. So expect to see this one pop up on my Instagram. You know, I'm sorry I'm going fast through the cards, but like I mean, they're not deck reviews. It's just that I want to show you what I'll be using. Right, so that's my first one anyway. I think that was the box for this that went on the floor. My second one is, oh, let me just pick up this card. Right, my second one is, this is the beauty of the tarot. Now, I had this last year, and I think this originally came as a colour your own decking. It's lovely. I love the linen cardstock. This is kind of like a bit more gruesome than the other one. This is called The Beauty of Horror Tarot. I absolutely love this because I love the kind of artwork style. I love all the zombies in here, the vampires in here. This is another like exact Rider-Waite-Smith clone as well, but everything's been changed to like, you know, the undead and, you know, the macabre and the spooky. So this is another one of my favourite decks as well. I absolutely love the scary pumpkin heads, and that King of Swords is possibly one of my favourite King of Swords of all time. And so yeah, this works absolutely brilliantly for me. I don't know whether this is still available. It wasn't when I checked it out a couple of months ago, but it may, because it's Halloween, be back in print. But obviously it's not just Amazon, you can get your decks from it everywhere else as well. So there we've got Frankenstein's monster look, looking out into the distance. And so as you can see from this one, it's totally readable if you are used to the Rider-Waite-Smith system. And so I'll just give this one a quick flick through as well. Some of the images to me are absolutely beautiful. You know how I feel about babies on the sun card. This one is the best baby I've ever seen on a sun card. A skeleton child riding a skeleton horse with a skeleton son. You couldn't get no more cooler than that in my eyes. And obviously you've got like the evil clown in here as well. That is just the best page of pentacles as well. And it's just a remarkable deck. It comes in a lovely box as well with a guidebook, which I've actually packed away because it's one of those bigger boxes and I haven't got room for it. So I do keep this one normally in a bag, in a box with decks I use at certain times of the year. So this is the beauty of Horror Tarot, and I think maybe it's still available. You'll have to do your own kind of research on this one. So there's that one. Now the third one I've got is a really special deck because I had it from Treadwell's in London. It's a Treadwell's exclusive. The last time I went to Treadwell's, I think it was with Levi. They hadn't got it in anymore, but I don't know whether the person who designed it has actually got a website, because I've never checked it out. When I got this from Treadwell's 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was about £40. It's not particularly like geared towards Halloween, but it is got the darker kind of history and myths and everything about London that's happened over the years. And it's got things like Jack the Ripper in here and everything like that. So, you know, I kind of like, I don't use this as often as I should because it is a remarkably lovely deck. I absolutely love it. I know it's not going to be everybody's thing, but it's got like all about the you know, the things in London, what have happened over the years, the people, and all the past as well. So like you can read up on Spring-Heeled Jack, the offerings that people used to leave in the Thames, and you know, there's everything in here really about old kind of London life, Victorian life. You know, the smog, which was in the 50s actually. There was this great big smog over London in the 50s. I love this cardstock. It's full on linen cardstock, and it's just gorgeous. And you've got the Tower Ravens look, and it does come with a little guidebook as well if you can get it, but as I said, I'm not sure whether it's out of print. But this is one of my most treasured decks in my collection, because it reminds me of London, our history as well. and I just love it because some of the things, obviously the stories I've grown up with when I was small, and you've got the bells of St Clements as well there, and there's just all sorts in here, all sorts of different like kind of like legends and lore and different places in London. Obviously you've got the plague pit there as well. You can see the plague doctor's mask, and let's have a look where else we've got here. Boudica there, the Counterfeit Princess, Vortigern, the Globe Theatre, Elizabeth I. And I think it's because it's got this dark kind of lino cut aesthetic, what I love about it so much. And, you know, it reads really well as well. I mean, it is, you know, it is a deck that you know, you'd have to read the guidebook, because especially Ellen of the Wise as the Empress, especially if you don't know much about the UK and, you know, our history and the history of London as well. So this is a lovely, lovely deck, and it's great for the spooky season for me. And I love the way the cards sound as well, and you kind of like, it's like that swishing noise. I've got that thing about like decks making noises. So you've got like Guy Fawkes as well, the hunting rights in St Paul's Cathedral, Camden Horse Hospital. So there's all sorts of things like great to learn about the history as well as London. So there you go, guys. That is another deck that I actually pull out around about spooky season, and it's one of my favourites. Lady Jane Grey. I don't know why that one's upside down. Death, you've got the St Sepulchre handbell. And so look, you got everything in here you need. So that's another one that I will use. The next one is one of my favourites as well. It's another Low Scarabeo offering, and I think I've had this now a number of years, maybe 10 years, and a little bit longer. This is the Dark Grimoire Tarot, and this is loosely based on the Necronomicon, and it's lovely. The artwork is incredibly beautiful. It is not for the sensitive at all. Some of the artwork is very hard hitting, quite graphic, but the colour palette is, and the illustration is absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. I even don't mind the 4 Low Scarabeo titles on this one, and they normally really annoy me. It's absolutely brilliant. If you've got any knowledge of the Necronomicon, you know, the deck will make a lot more sense. It's just a totally readable deck anyway. You know, and I love the artwork. I could stare at the artwork for hours. I know it's not going to be everybody's bag, but like, I mean, it is kind of a dark and deep. It's the artwork. It is kind of deep and dark and mysterious. And some of the characters look like they're looking you directly in the eye. But this is another one of my favourites. I love that card, that 9 of Swords there. It's just incredible. And so, who is it illustrated by? Artwork by Michelle Penko, or Michelle. I'm going to have a look at the artist and see what else I've done. But yeah, the artwork in this is just phenomenal. So cool. Yeah, there's lots of monsters and typical Lovecraftian style. And so yeah, if you're invested in Lovecraft's work, this is where the deck will really come into its own when you're doing your readings. So I'm not going to go any further, because as I said, there's like kind of a couple of auditing cards in here and I don't want to upset anybody. But yeah, that's the Dark Grimoire Tarot by Low Scarabeo. Another one of my favourites. Now, what I'm going to do is show you something that, I'm going to completely switch it now and show you something that I don't like. This is going to be really unpopular, because I know people really anchor after this deck. But this is Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment. I've had this a few years now, and I paid quite a bit of money for it. I tried to love it, but I actually don't. One of the reasons being is because the cards are all in landscape mode. and I am not a huge fan of landscape decks at all. It's probably because I'm so used to, you know, upright shuffling and you have to turn the cards. And that is just, if you know, I mean, I know so many people adore Patrick Valenci's art, and there's nothing at all wrong with Patrick's art. I think it's incredible. But the one thing that does really annoy me, it doesn't come with a guidebook. So you have to go online, get the PDF, which I absolutely despise doing. I want something at my fingertips. I probably could print it out, but like I'm thinking, well, you know, you pay this much for a deck, so why should I like print out a, you know, a guidebook when it should be like already in the deck? It's not a deck that's, it's kind of intuitive, I suppose, but obviously you want to know what the real meanings are behind the cards. And this is one of the bugbears with me with this deck. It's because it's possibly because it's got no guidebook. Obviously I've got the PDF on my iPad, but having to trawl through it all the time is kind of annoying. Because I don't want to like learn a deck by heart to use it properly, and it's such a shame because, you know, as I said, the artwork is beautiful. It looks like old medieval woodcuts with Patrick Valenci's style on it. So yeah, it's a shame really. I mean, I'll always keep it because it was actually gifted to me by someone special, but it's one that I never reach for at all, and one that just sits on my shelf basically always. I don't know, there's all different versions of this. I think like there's all different inverted colours. One, there's a red one or something else, and you know, I've never bought anything else, to be fair, by Patrick. I have got the Deviant Moon, which I love, but you know, I find it very, very difficult to use. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. And I mean, I know some people will disagree and absolutely love it. You know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be used like Halloween. You could use this deck any time of the year. But to me, these kind of illustrations would look better either in a book or in a frame. I think it's because they're in this like kind of landscape mode as opposed to portrait. But there you go, that's just my thoughts on the Oracle of Black Enchantment. Such a shame really, but I feel as though it's money that hasn't been very well spent. So that's actually one that I don't reach for because of the reasons stated. And the other one I don't reach for like ever is this one, which is the one that fell on the floor, by the way. And this is the Halloween Tarot, and it was created by Kipling West. It's kind of an old deck that was published by US Games back in the day. And it's another one that really isn't a favourite of mine. I don't know what it is about the deck. I mean, I know people love it. It's so cute, but it's not really for me. I think it's because the artwork is kind of like not the best done, you know. It is a very much a Rider-Waite Smith clone, so you can use it, you know, like the Rider-Waite Smith. But like, I don't know, honestly, I cannot put my finger on why I've always had such a problem with this deck. And looking at it, every time I pick it up and look at it, I think, oh my god, that is such a cool deck. And then I go to use it and can't, and I feel guilty because it's just it's just shoved in the box and in another box, and it never ever sees the light of day. But again, it's one that I could never get rid of, because it is a really special little cool deck, and there is a tin version available now. So maybe, just maybe, if I did go out and buy the tin version, maybe I'd fall in love with it. Who knows? Because I am thinking now, oh, look at that, you know, the little ghosts with the cute faces and the little imps. See? This is how I feel every time I get the deck out. This just like this, like, yearning to use it, and I don't know why I can't. You know what? I'm going to use it, right? The first time. It's only because I'm saying this on video, I think. You probably never see it on my Instagram feed. But yeah, it is really cute, but it's just something I've never, you know, kind of like gelled with really. but I will try. And you know what I expect as well, the ghosts, that they look like they should actually glow in the dark. I don't know why. It looks like that kind of paint they use for the glow in the dark things on cards and that. And I think I'll probably love it more. Oh, look at that. Right, if if they glowed in the dark. So yeah, put it in the comments, please help me to love this deck, because I really want to love it, because I think it's time, you know, it had some use. Do you know what? I've had this years. I don't even know when I had it. When was it printed? Gosh, this was printed in 1996, so I've probably had this deck that long, and it's never been used. Look, it's more or less brand new. So yeah, this is a deck that I am trying to love and reconnect with, and so if I do, I'll let you know. But until then, it's going back on the pile to go. And these stupid boxes by US Games, the older ones, it's going back in the pile for the maybe. Right, so this is a maybe. Now, the next deck I've got, it's Oracle of the Witch, and this is by Rockpool Publishing. It's not released yet, I don't think. I did a review on it about a month ago, and this is lovely, absolutely lovely deck. It's very witchy, very of the season, and it's Reclaim Your Birthright, and it's by Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara Michael John Frey, who've done a number of collaborations before. And of course, it's lovely kind of production. Look at the book. I mean, the book is like 184 pages long. You know, so there's so much information in this book. Different things as well you can do with the deck, as well as reading it as an oracle deck. And what I love about it is obviously, one, the aesthetic, because it's gorgeous. Two, it's got 44 cards in it, which is really good, because normally Rockpool have got 36 in. And the illustrations are just the best. So you can use this obviously with the keyword, just the keyword. So you've got innocence for maiden, horn god, you've got virility, sacred sites, you've got intensification, poppets is sorcery. So you could use this as a standalone oracle, you know, oracle deck without having any prior knowledge of what not magic means or binding. Or you could actually educate yourself and read through the book. Because it is a really good book. When I first got it and reviewed it, I wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. And then when I started to use it over the last couple of months, there's all sorts you can do. It's really good. I mean, obviously the authors know their knowledge about witchcraft, and there's all sorts of little spells in here to do as well. And there's candle magic, you know, it tells you what candles to use, colours for, you know, spell work. And there really is a lot of information packed in this like guidebook. And I can say little, but it's not that little, is it? But this is one of my favourite decks to be using of the season. So expect to see more of that if you follow me on Instagram. And another one by Rockpool, which is absolutely brilliant, is the Deep, Dark and Dangerous Oracle. And it's a new deck coming out by Stacey DeMarco. The box is super cool. It looks like snake skin, reptile skin. I don't know whether you can see it like shining in the light. And this is a deck, and it says, what if by stepping into the realm of the monsters and the things that go bump into the night, what seemed twisted and dangerous is actually a torch leading us out of the darkness into divine wholeness. So this is all about facing your fears, basically, and I love it. You've got creatures, dark gods and goddesses, like all sorts of things going on in this deck. And this is another 44 card deck by Rockpool as well. And again, it's aesthetically beautiful. This one is also like metallic edge red, and the backs are gorgeous. Another one as well. So you can, you know, you've got the, you know, whatever it is, like Medusa or like a creature or something. And then a little keyword, so you can actually use the keyword without you know, looking at the guidebook, but this really does add to the whole experience, is reading the guidebook. I love the artwork as well. I didn't, because I'm not a huge fan of photorealism, but this one really works in this deck. And it's absolutely gorgeous. There's different categories of creatures. So at the top you've got dangerous, and on that one you've got dangerous as well. So these are different things, you know, what you can kind of, the categories, what you see. That one says dark, so there's different categories. So you've got dark, you've got dangerous, you've got deep. The deep ones are more like water, I think, or emotional based things. But like, I mean, it is a really cool deck. And I absolutely love it, because I love mythology. Any kind of like mythology, world mythology. My favourite is Greek and Celtic mythology. But I just love it, and it's really cool deck. So I think this one's out around October as well, so this one's going to be out for spooky season. And so, like, I mean, it's a really nice deck to use in your practice. I mean, what I've been doing as well, I've been playing around. I do a lot of scene. I play around with a lot of decks to see which decks pair up with each other well. And like this, I'd like to finish a reading off, or maybe start a reading and then pull some cards. So, you know, what better way to, you know, like, kind of explain the word change than a werewolf, because we know that the werewolf has to go through a period of transformation and change before he goes from human to werewolf. And so it's brilliant. I mean, that hunger vampire, yeah, this is really good. I absolutely love it. So this is the Deep, Dark and Dangerous Oracle, and this is out in October, or maybe the end of this month. You'll have to check out my original video for that one. Another one I've got, which I absolutely love, is by a very dear friend of mine, which is Jens Freeborg from Mr. Freeborg Arcantum. And this was Jens's first release deck, and it's the Purgatorium Hex Oracle. And this one is brilliant. I use this all year round. I actually edged my copy when I first had it and kind of buggered it up a bit, but that adds to the old aesthetic, because I love the way that I kind of, like, you know, made a few mistakes, made a few like errors, can I say, and some of the Sharpie kind of went onto the card, but it's just lovely. It's an absolutely amazing deck. It's got a system on its own. You haven't got to use that system, and this is brilliant. I mean, Jens is a phenomenal artist, and this really works as a standalone Oracle deck, or it works to kind of like help you deep dive into what's really going on. I've always had the most incredible readings with this. That's just some of the artwork on here is just like, every piece of artwork is incredible anyway. It's, you know, it's Jens, isn't it? And this looks like medieval woodcuts, medieval European woodcuts as well. And this is one of the reasons why it's so special. And so, yeah, this is available now. I think Jens has still got a few copies left. If not, you can pre-order it anyway. I just love it. Absolutely love. And I've read a few times with people with this as well, and the guidebook is lovely. It gives you just enough information. And what Jens does is gives a high polarity and low polarity meaning, which means upright and reversed. And it's lovely, because what I like about it is Jens has used this font for people can see with failing eyesight, and so which is me. So I've actually got my glasses on today, which makes a surprise of me not stopping the video and having to get them. But I thought I'll put them on before I start the video. So this is a lovely deck, very easy to use, simple. Keywords are brilliant, artwork is phenomenal as well. And when you read about the illustrations and what Jens put into the deck, it is an incredible system. So that is one of my all-time favourite decks as well, my all-time favourite Oracle decks. And mine come in this little bag, and I had a rosary as well with mine. But last but not least, this is one I haven't used yet, because I reviewed it a while ago, because Rockpool didn't send me this one. I bought this one, but it is by Rockpool, And this is the Macabre Tarot by Sam West, and this is so brilliant, right? And I've got this childish sense of humour, and I just can't wait till I start using it to hear this. See? I mean, you've just got to purchase it for that box, you know. I mean, the box is just cool in itself, a coffin-shaped box. And as I said, this is by Rockpool, and it comes with this guidebook. It can get a little annoying after a time. This is by Rockpool. This is a proper spooky Halloween deck. I just love Sam's art, everything she's done. Then this one is no exception. It's just brilliant. I just can't wait to start working with this. I just love the simplicity, yet it's got so much depth to it. The Plague Doctor as the Hermit, it's incredible. The Judgment card, to me, that reminds me of somebody's old self melting away, hearing the call and then being the true self. So this is a completely me deck. I'm going to have so much fun using this. I love the fact that, you know, some of the cards are black, some of the cards are white. It's just Sam's artwork. It's just like simple, yet really, really speaks volumes. And yeah, I love this so much. I really do. So this is going to be one I'm going to be using a lot. It comes with a lovely little guidebook as well, which is actually under my hand. And all the meanings are in here. So, you know, you could like kind of read this straight at the box. And so that is my last deck, and I've really enjoyed doing this video. Actually, now there's another one, but I'm not going to get it at the box because everybody's probably seen it. It's the Archeon Tarot, and it's by Timothy Lance, and this was probably 20 years ago, I think, maybe. And this is kind of like dark. Actually, I will get it at the box in case somebody ain't seen it. This is kind of like dark and like got like a kind of a gothic aesthetic to it. And I just love it. This is my second copy of this, by the way. My first one got that damage through overuse. It got retired, and I used to use this all the time back in the day. And people used to love it because of the whole dark gothic vibe. It's very Photoshop, very of its time, you know. There's kind of maps in the background, but it's very readable as well, you know. And even though like it's so old, it doesn't look dated, and I absolutely love it. It's like one of my special decks from my older collection that I'll always have a soft spot for. And this is like a really nice deck to have in your collection if you like something dark and different, maybe. And it just looks so different, you know. I mean, even looking back now, you know, looking at things now, you know, I know you can tell it's photoshopped and things. I mean, in comparison, things have, you know, come way more forward since then. But it's still got this unique, special quality about it that adds to its endearment and usage, and I absolutely love it. So that is the Archeon Tarot. That was published by US Games back in the day. I have no idea at all whether this is still available or not. You'll have to do your own work for that one, guys. And so anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me babbling on as usual. I'll be interested if you commented and tell me, enable me to use that Halloween tarot, because I would love to. And also tell me what your favourite deck is. Tell me what you be using. Maybe start a hashtag with Halloween tarot on it or something. It's entirely up to you guys. But I'm looking forward to connecting with you all on what you're doing for the spooky season anyway. So thank you so much. I love you all, and I'll see you all soon. I'm here on Wednesday with a live with Antoinette, Tony and Levi. The three of us are on live. I'm going to put the ad up later. So thank you for watching. Speak to you all soon. Take care and lots of love.